Suneera Madhani. Suneera Madhani.
Without much further ado, I'd like to welcome Suneera.
Hi, I'm Suneera Madhani, a mom of two, daughter of an immigrant, and an unlikely entrepreneur who built a billion-dollar business. Yes, billion. Now I'm doing it again and building my second unicorn, Worth. Shockingly, less than 2% of female founders ever reach 1 million in revenue, and I'm on a mission to change that. At CEO School, we mentor thousands of women to help them level up in business and in life. We believe that you deserve to have it all because honestly, nothing bad happens when women make more money. Grab a seat because class is officially in session. Welcome to CEO School. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the CEO School podcast. I'm your host, Suneera, and I am so excited if you are watching this episode or if you're even just listening. I have some incredible, exciting news to share with all of you. My heart is like beating. It's super like heavy right now. I feel, quite frankly, very emotional. It has been 5 years almost in March. So like a few weeks away, where the CEO School podcast will officially turn 5. 5 years that we've had this show. Every single week, there's a new episode. Every Monday it goes out. We've had, I don't even know, over 400-ish episodes so far go out. And it has been a labor of love. It has been such a growth journey for me personally as not just a podcaster, but as a founder and as a just as a leader and just as a host of the show and just my growth with all of you. I just feel so emotional thinking about that it's been 5 years. And it's 2025, and I know you probably just listened to the 2025 like January episodes, and if you watch the episodes, and if you're watching this episode now, you'll see that there's a little change in scenery. We are actually recording the podcast currently right now right from my living room. So we are here in Casa Madhani, in our home, in our family house, right off my couch. And there's so many reasons why I'm doing this. So I want to just start by just sharing my gratitude. And I feel so emotional here sharing this with all of you, especially all of my OG listeners or, those that have been listening for such a long time. It's been such an evolution. And to do something for this long, you really have to reignite and find that passion back in your business or back in the things that you love, because you can lose that spark. And I know it's February and it's the whole theme of this month is around love. And for this year, when I was thinking about my 2025 word of the year, yes, I do the word of the year. I really was like, what do I want this year to represent? And the word that, if you follow the newsletter, I did share this in the Big Business Energy newsletter. And if you don't subscribe to the newsletter, please do. I write it personally every single week. It goes out every Wednesday. I usually write it on Monday or Tuesdays, or sometimes literally at 11 o'clock when my team is like, we don't have the newsletter yet. But it goes out every Wednesday at noon. And I did share the word of the year for 2025 for me is arrived. And that word is not actually in the sense of like, oh, I'm here from a gravitas perspective or from a outward perspective. For me, the word arrival and why I've chosen the word arrived is because I'm actually here. I'm here. I'm present. I have arrived. And I'm no longer on a journey anymore. Like over the last decade, I feel like I've learned so many lessons that I get to share back with you in building these businesses and just growing and learning as a leader and as a woman in business and just as a woman and as a mother. I feel like I've always had that chase, right? It's always the next destination or the next stop or that next accomplishment. And I do feel like I checked off so many things off of that list. And of course, that list is going to continue to grow of more things that I want to accomplish or places that where I want to be. But a big part of my journey over the last, 18 months to 2 years in this next era has really been to just enjoy where I'm at and to really stop the chase and to be present in the arrival of where I'm at. And it's been a really big shift for me, not just mentally. And it's really changed the way I feel so much happier and more content and just, yes, of course I have the dreams. Yes, of course, here's what's next, but also just being content in where I'm at and being at my destination. So I do feel like I have arrived. I am here, and I'm here with all of you. And going into this year, I was thinking about what are the places, like what are the things that I can incorporate that into. And going into this like year 5 of the show, we've been doing things for so long in a certain way. And, you know, you get caught up, like even as a successful business owner, right? Like even successful or not, like we all have this, you know, we look at our competitors, we look at what everyone else is doing, and you get caught in that syndrome of constantly being like, what's better? How do I need to improve? How do I need to constantly scale up? And with this podcast, I mean, the podcasting game has changed over the last 5 years. And, you know, we were first only on audio, then we had to go on video, then it's social media, and then it was all the different channels and so much. And it almost takes the fun out of doing it in the first place of like why you begin to do it. And I was really thinking about what I want in this next season or in this next chapter. And it was just bringing it back to its roots and bringing it back to where it all started. And it started here. It started during COVID. It started in my home. It started off of a computer. It started on the laptop, and it was just audio, and it was just me authentically sharing these lessons and learning stories from women who had made it and people that I want to learn from. And it wasn't about actually the biggest guest or the most, you know, the most likes or the most shares. It was really about the lessons on how we can actually take tactical tips, how we can actually apply this to our lives, real stories, real women, and real applicable advice as CEOs and as ambitious women. And how can we incorporate that into our everyday, every week? And so that is where this like reflection is really coming from of, it's year 5. We have arrived, Team CEO. And I'm so proud to have been on this journey with you. And I want to bring it back to where it all started. So here we are back in my house, and I've brought the production team here, but it's not going to be super produced. So it's really raw. It's organic. It'll be the real raw conversations. And I just want to like take the makeup off, right? I just want to take the lashes off. I want to take the makeup off. I want to take the studio lights out. I want to not do 4 outfit changes. Like I'm just going to show up and record the show with you. And so that's where my energy is at. So welcome to my home, everyone, and welcome to my 2025 happy place. I'm so excited to get the show started and the season started. All right. So it's February, and it's all about the season of love. And I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you for February and what are some things so that we can be applying into our businesses, and something that I feel like I constantly have these conversations with the women inside of Millionaire Founders Club and even within my leadership team is falling in love with our customers, right? So we, as a business, right, we're constantly thinking about new revenue. We're constantly thinking about what else, like how to attain that next customer, that next revenue milestone, that next, and that new. But what about the actual customers that we have today in our business? And most often, if you actually take a look at why you've even maybe left a vendor or you've left a service provider or you're no longer working with a company is truly because you probably felt like they forgot about you, that you didn't receive that love from that vendor, from that partner, from that customer. And so if you actually look back and you reflect on the last time that you didn't enjoy a service or you cut ties with a vendor or a partner, it probably because you didn't feel the love. That's it. So in business, we're still all humans. We still all need attention. We need the love. We need the affection. So how we are in our personal love lives is actually how we operate as CEOs as well. And so I want today's episode to be that reminder, because I want you to fall in love with your customers and I want you to serve your current customers. And when you actually serve your current customers and you build that level of excitement, that joy, that product experience, that level of service, that product roadmap that actually is for your customers, everything else will follow. And so that's today's conversation. And I do believe that the secret to long-term business growth and success is deeply connected to loyal customers. In 2025, our thematic goals. So if you've been listening to the show for a while, I always talk about, as a company, you have to have, not just your revenue goals, but your like key strategic anchors. And a thematic goal is a way for you to rally your company around a shared mission for the year. And our thematic goal at Worth right now in 2025 is actually creating raving fans. That's it, creating raving fans. And that actually has become one now of our core values as a company. And so creating raving fans for us, it's not just about external people that like our brand or that want to be supportive of us as founders or of the company. It's how do we actually create raving fans within the company, within our customer base? Because we believe that when we unlock that level of excitement from our current customers, we're on the right direction for our product. We're going to retain these customers. And of course, our business is going to grow and expand within our customer base. And so there's so many ways to even expand your revenue. And it actually costs you way more to go acquire a new customer than it actually does just to serve your current customers. And I want today to be that reminder of how are you as a CEO creating raving fans in your business? What are you doing right now to ensure that you have customer happiness, customer success, but most importantly, customer loyalty, so that when they are excited, they're actually referring business to you and they're becoming that brand ambassador for your business. And great customer relationships truly come from most important thing. It's listening. Right? It's listening to their needs. It's going above and beyond. It's also that level of personalization and that feeling, right? Like there is that feeling anytime, like as a customer, you've been a customer where you've maybe felt really delighted by a company. It's because they made you feel a certain way. And so you as a company can invoke feelings of gratitude, feelings of affection, even through your customers. We're going to talk about that. And there are so many ways to go about doing it. And so in this episode, I'm actually going to outline the top 5 ways that you can actually build your customers into raving fans. So let's get started. So number 1, as I had mentioned, it's listening to your customers. And so how do we actually listen to our customers, right? So using not just like, oh, here's a survey, right? Here's a survey post an event, or here's a survey post a service. It's truly on having direct conversations with your customers. As a CEO, this is something that is so important, and especially as you're growing and scaling and you have more and more customers, like how do you actually touch base with your customers? How do you actually get that real-time, one-on-one time with your customers, that feedback directly from your customers? It's so important for you to find that connection. I think it's a lot easier for service-based companies. So if you are a service-based company, I mean, your bread and butter ultimately depends on that level of service that you're providing for your customers. So you probably are likely more in the know. But even if you are a product-based company and you sell candles online, even touching base with that customer to say, how was that product experience? And just even selecting maybe 10 customers at random from your Shopify shop to say, I'm going to reach out to these customers. I'm going to delight them by sending them an extra sample, an extra product, and inviting them for 5 minutes of their time to talk me through their experience and to create raving fans that way, or at least to understand their, even if you just sit there, even if you're not directly talking to them, but for you to even just pick through from a product cycle to say, how was that experience? Did they get their product on time? What was the packaging like? What was the quality all the way through that delivery? Did they get their shipment notification, right? So even you just sitting and putting yourself in that customer's shoe, finding a way to connect to your end customer is so, so important. And then honestly, listening, right? Like we talked about listening, but listening actually comes with action. So it's one thing to actually then understand where, in every business, right, there's always opportunities to improve. As CEOs, it's our job to, that's what we do every day. We're finding and overcoming obstacles. We're finding better ways to serve our customers. I do believe that every CEO, as we set out, and every founder, as you're setting out to build your business, you start with this in mind. You're so excited about serving your customer. You're so excited about ensuring that your product experience is elevated. But what happens is, as scale happens, we almost leave it as like one of the last things to do and to think about. So as that revenue is coming in, we start getting comfortable. right? And that's when, it's scary, because then we're exposing ourselves to that risk, to that exposure for someone else to take our customers. And so it is so important that we not just listen, but we apply that feedback. And it is really hard sometimes as founders to take that level of feedback. So my biggest tip here is to not take it personal, right? So it's not personal here. And your job is to actually understand that just expect that not everything is going to be, when you're speaking to a customer, sometimes we come from a place of like, even when we're listening and we're getting feedback, it feels defensive. We're like, oh my God, well, such and such, well, they didn't, like if let's say one of my team has, or one of our customers has a problem with something that's going on, I could probably point the finger back and say, well, they probably didn't deliver like on their side. So my team couldn't communicate whatever effectively, or whatever the case is. It's so easy for us to want to defend. It's so easy for us to want to protect what we've built, because that's the mama bear in us, right? That's what the emotion comes out. But when you're stepping into that conversation to genuinely care, to genuinely listen, I always say it's feed forward, right? So when I'm even approaching the conversation, I'm going to say, I want to take some feed forward. So it's not feedback. I want to use this opportunity so that we can ensure not only that you have an incredible experience, future customers have an incredible experience, and that we can ensure that we're continuing to improve for you. And there is that level of authenticity that you have to have, that level of humility that you have to say, okay, I'm actually going to listen. And then once you take in that feed forward, it's really the next step is about applying it, right? So it's how can you actually apply it? And then following back up with that customer to say, hey, that was a really great suggestion. We heard you. This is how we've implemented it. And so it's not just about that survey or that feedback form that we're so used to. Actually sit and talk to customers. So number one is actually listening and taking action. Number two, and this is absolutely one of my favorite, is, creating raving fans means that you have to get personal, right? You have to get personal. So creating personalized experiences, like how can you, and even as a small business, even as a large scalable business, find ways to create personalized experiences to make your customers feel loved and valued. And you can find this in so many different ways. So if you are a smaller business, I think that you can do this very easily and incorporate, you don't have to do all the things, but maybe it's like that 1-year anniversary of that customer. Maybe it's celebrating their birthdays. Maybe it's, just unexpectedly surprising them or delighting them. Maybe it's not actually on a thing. It's just like, we just want to say thank you, right? And appreciating them and sending them something. So you can send gifts, you can send notes, you can send, you can send customers, you can send referrals, you can send, you can send their team pizza. I don't know. We've done all the things. And I do believe that the way is through like sheer just delight. And you should identify, you should know, you should take care of all of your customers, but you should know who your top customers are. Like always know your top customers, period. And I'm not trying to give this advice to say this should only be applicable to your top customers, but 100%, even if you're not doing this, at least for all your customers and your customer base is large, you better know who your top customers are. You better know like who's paying the bills and ensuring that those top 10 customers are receiving the utmost personalized care, the utmost attention. And I think that brands can actually figure out and founders can figure out ways to do it all the way through. That's one of our goals. Our goals is not just to create raving fans from just our top 10 customers. Our job is to create raving fans across the board. So it doesn't matter even if it's a small contract they have with us or a large contract they have with us. You have your values as a brand. You want to ensure that they're being delighted and that they're happy. But there are immediate, if you don't have these things in place, even just starting at least with your top 10. Understanding what are the ways that you can create those touch points with them, like remembering those birthdays or their preferences, or it's even the little things. And so there's so many ways that you can find it that incorporates your brand elements or things that are exciting for you as a company, things that I can think of from like my various different businesses. So, at Stacks, we had partners and vendors, and every time that if they ever came into the office, we had TVs up all on the screens, we had like a 20,000 square foot office in Orlando. And so we invited partners to come up, or any investor came in, or anybody that came for a physical meeting to our office. We would put their logos all up around the office, and we would say like, welcome. And then it would be the company name, or, their brand. And when people have they feel so excited to see their own name or their own face or on our screens. And it's something so simple, but just being greeted with their company logos at our office was such a personalized touch that I feel like every time they left, they'd always be like, wow, you guys are so hospitable. I always feel like I could come to the Stacks office all the time. There's just one example that I can think of. And every style of customer or constituent, right? Anybody that even your vendors, and even you as a leader that are working with agencies, and even people that you're doing business with, that you're paying, you should have a positive experience for them too, because guess what? It's going to make them work harder for your business. And so creating raving fans and delighting them in that personalized experience, you can really find so many ways to do it. And even it's the small things, right? It's sending those, we're a big food culture. And so we would send food all the time to people, throwing their office a pizza party. We would find out how many, it's so inexpensive in the grand scheme of things for customers. And I do feel like we don't do that. I do feel like even at Christmas time, or even during the holidays, or we always send out personalized, really fun kits and boxes. And I don't know, there's just so many ways to delight people. Don't cheap out. These are the people that are paying your bills. It's not about the ones you just check off and send the basket. It's really thinking about how you can create that personalized experience really goes a long way. It's so hard to leave companies that do that. It's so hard. So let's do that. I think I actually covered this. I actually had put on my notes outline, it was to create personalized experience and then delight with the unexpected. So I did talk about the surprises, right? I think surprises are a great way to do it. I'm one that honestly, as in my love languages, I actually hate surprises because I like to be in control of everything, and I like to know what to wear, where to go. So in my love life, I don't love surprises. But I will say that I am really grateful when I am surprised. So I've never not had a surprise that I've been well, that was shitty. It's always oh my God, my kids did something so special, or my husband did something so special. So surprises are a way it's just unexpected. And especially with all of us constantly wanting to be in control, it is nice. When you do receive something that was so unexpected and you're wow, that was so thoughtful. Creating those experiences and surprising is a great way. I think one of the ways that I think all of us can get back to, and I think in business, I think what's missing, and I get really annoyed of everything has to be scheduled, right? Pick up the phone, right? Pick up the phone, or write the thank you card, just the old school basics of connection. I think that surprises people. People are constantly surprised by how much I actually pick up the phone and just call them. Or even with my teams, how I'm just oh, let's just hop on right now. Things don't have to be so pre-planned. And so just that reminder of just do it. Just say that thank you, or send that note, or write that thing, or even creating custom things, exclusive offers for certain sets of your customers. So many ways to surprise and delight. Number 4 on building the best customer base and falling in love with your customers and having them fall in love with you is truly creating a space for your customers to connect and really building a community. Every brand, every company should be thinking about community building. So even if you're a product-based company, if you're a service-based company, even if you only will ever have 10 customers, how can you create community around that so that you can, help that entire community thrive? Usually if you've really nailed who you're serving, this is the part where you can't serve everyone. You can't do everything. And so successful business owners and successful CEOs are they know their customer, and their customers are pretty tight. It's the same style of customer. And so for CEO School, I can almost guarantee that all of you listening, even the 50,000 of you that listen on the month, right? You guys all have very similar DNA. You guys are ambitious women, right, that are business owners. And most of our audience is US based, and that translates directly into our products, our services, our content. We know who we're serving. At Worth, it's the exact same way, right? We are serving this style of customer. And so when you serve and you know your customer, knowing them, and that means that it's not just that one person's pain point or one person's problem or one person's solution set. And you can create a way to bring them together, right? To create, and whether that could be through, a Slack channel, a Facebook group, or throwing an event and bringing them together, finding ways to connect with them together so that they can also support each other, because what they're going through is probably equally the same. And when you're solving for a solution for one and you solve for that solution, sharing that with the rest of the 10 or the 100 or the 1,000, they're all probably also going through that same pain point. So building that community and creating safe spaces for them so that you can add value as a brand. And adding value is so important, right? So it's not just about sending the gifts and doing your level of service. They're already signing up for that product, that service, that experience. But how do you add value that goes beyond that, right? So if you bring them together and you are listening, you can add value to their business in other ways. And I'm not talking about through your products and services. And I think community is a great way that you can cultivate that and do that. So number 4 is build community. And I literally do believe that every style of business can have a community. So if you have not, it does not have to be paid, right? And so I know automatically, I've seen so much recently all about memberships. Why your business needs memberships. I disagree with that. Your business needs community. This is a way for you to add value. You don't need to have more customers be paying for something else. I gave this advice to one of the portfolio companies that I sit as a board member on. And she has a product-based company. She is a pediatrician, and she has stainless steel, amazing dinnerware products for children. It's called Ahimsa. And she sits on the most high level, just boards and thought leadership as a pediatrician around safety and toxicity for, what we're feeding our children and health and nutrition. And she has cultivated this amazing community through her product line. And she's like, oh, Suneera, I'm getting all this advice on creating this community, and we can add more value and we can bring in other experts and all the things. And I'm like, Manasa, you should 100% do that. But charging for it, why are we going to charge our customer? And yes, that dollar is a short-lived dollar, right? That dollar is a short-lived dollar. That's not your product offering. That's not why you're serving. If you want to do it to build value, and this is what she wants to do. She wants to just give value. Let's tip the dollar off on the table and let's just serve them. They're going to build that brand loyalty towards not only you, to the experts that you're bringing, and buy your products. And in essence, become brand ambassadors of Ahimsa. And her and I had this conversation, and she is the most incredible CEO. She fully agreed with this, and because she has just an incredible heart to serve. And we're so excited about this. She has this community that's building, and it's going to create even more raving fans that will then translate to dollars. So it's already going to translate to dollars. But let's not worry about that short-term dollar. So I don't agree with, yes, every business and every brand can have a community, but it doesn't mean you have to charge for it. If that is your business model, if that is the model, then you should do it. That's the model. If community is your model, then that makes sense. But if community is not your model and you're doing it to serve, then let's serve. Number 5, and this is so simple. But honestly, we forget to do it for our customers regularly. It's just to show gratitude. Show gratitude. If you practice gratitude and you share gratitude, and we should be sharing gratitude constantly. This applies to us as CEOs. This doesn't even apply just for our customers. Constantly. Share gratitude always. And you come from a place of gratitude, your experiences are just so much more different. But for your customers, celebrate them. Celebrate their successes and shout them out. And it doesn't actually have to show gratitude of thank you for the business, right? Celebrate them. What are their milestones? We track, so even for CEO School, our members, we have Google alerts out for our Millionaire Founders Club women. If they're in the news, if something's happening, you can set up Google alerts for your clients, right? To say, hey, we just saw that you guys did this or X or Y, like congratulations. Shout it out to that community that you've already built around them. Hype them up. If you're wanting to serve them, just show them gratitude, and gratitude can be seen, like shared in so many ways. Of course, it's that thank you, that, their anniversaries and the appreciation campaigns and ways to show them gratitude with services and upgrading them, whatever that looks like, right? So even when we think about brands and loyalty, even if you think about travel, right? People will fly the brands because of their loyalty points, right? So there are, of course, those are ways to show gratitude, and creating programs within your company to say, you've been with us for this. You've provided us XYZ. I want to show gratitude in these ways that you get all of these extra perks. You always get first in line. Your projects are always delivered. You always have a dedicated account manager. Whatever those perks are, that's also one way. But also just following through their journey and just celebrating them as well. So even small things like on social media, you should be following your customers. So basic. Follow your customers, like their stuff, support them, show them gratitude. All of these things are great ways that don't take that much effort and time for you to fall in love with your customer so that they fall in love with you. Happy February. Welcome to my home. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, February love and gratitude for our customers. I think there's so many great action tips. So wherever you're listening, be sure to take notes. We're also going to always link the show notes. So show notes are always available, and you can take the notes, hand it also off to your team and say, Suneera shared some amazing insights. Here's 1 or 2 key takeaways. So my goal is always to share actionable tips with you that you can apply. You don't have to apply all of them, but it's that reminder to take that first meaningful action, right? What are the few ways right now that you can get started to show your customers love? They're the ones that make your business go round and like actually keep you in business. Stop worrying about the next customer and focus on what's in front of you. And so with that, I want to share all my gratitude for all of you that have been showing up here for the show. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to share it. That's the way that you can show me gratitude. You can show me gratitude by leaving a review. So we're going to ask for reviews now. We are growing the show, and for you to share it on social. Tag a bestie that needs to listen to this episode and let me know your favorite tips on falling in love with your customers. I'll see you next week at CEO School.